Welcome to the Work-Life Balance Podcast. I am Kara.
And I am Maggie.
Together, we're a power real estate team with the Bajetti Partners in Nashville.
We believe that the hustle culture of today's driven entrepreneur who lives and works in Middle Tennessee
requires balance. Hey guys, welcome back to Work-Life Balance with Kara and Maggie.
Welcome back.
And today we have a special guest, Sierra, is with us. And she is with Sun Peak Merch.
Yes. That's right.
I got that right?
Yes. And she is our social media guru because we don't know how to do it.
She has taken control of our social media and we couldn't be happier.
I have. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah, love the feedback.
If you guys have seen the little boosts in Instagram, Facebook, and all that lately, it is because of her.
Yes.
So thanks for coming on, girl.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk marketing and strategy and social media and business and work-life balance.
Yes.
So Sierra and I met last year in August, and I helped her buy a house here. And she moved across the country, kind of, like halfway, I guess. Yeah. But still a big move for her husband's job. So it was great to meet her. And now she owns an investment property, too, 2 in 1 year.
All right. Yeah. Definitely gave Maggie the business for our first little bit here. And I just want to take a minute real quick to just say, like, working with Maggie was just an amazing. She made the process like so much fun and just took the pressure off of moving to a state we have never been to. It just made it feel like home right from the get-go. So,
that's so nice.
Yeah, so I absolutely love working with you guys, especially doing this now. So I'm excited to be here.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. That's nice
to hear that.
Absolutely.
So tell us about like what you do, like your Sun Peak merch, all of that, and then coming to Tennessee, because that's a huge thing that we help people with. It's just moving across country. So your experience.
Right. Yeah. So my business is Sun Peak Merch, and it started out as a merchandise business in 2020, and I did promotional products and small batch advertising type products for small businesses. So as you guys know, during the pandemic, it was very hard to get your supplies, and a lot of big producers from overseas weren't able to help small businesses anymore get those promotional products. And so being able to get to source them from local spots and still do them in a quantity that was useful for small businesses rather than getting 5,000 shipped over 3 months later. I was able to do that and really serve small businesses in that way, and I loved it. And then I kind of just started to shift when we needed to move to Tennessee. I didn't have access to my warehouses anymore. And so I was like, okay, I would still love to work with businesses. So how can I shift and use my skill set to serve people here and more remotely than I was doing before, because we're kind of outside of the metro now.
Yeah.
So now I turned digital with all of that and started offering digital services. And so I still do design for promotional products, but I outsource the production. And then love serving you guys like with digital marketing and as well as other like investing groups and stuff like that. So it's exciting.
So cool. Well, you're so talented. And it was like, before even knowing that you even had the skill, she's like, should we ask Sierra to come and look at our social media? I'm like, yeah, does she know? Like, 'cause obviously I don't know anything about it. And Maggie was like, yeah, that's what she does. And then watching what you've done just in like the last week or so, 2 weeks now that you've controlled it, I'm astonished. Like, I think it's just impressive. And
me too.
And like you were showing us our stats this morning, that's like exponentially larger than it was last month.
Yeah, just even from a week ago, because we started rolling out posts like right this last week. And just took some strategy and some purpose behind the content, and it can really increase your reach. So
that's probably what we should talk about
for us.
Is like the importance of, like, we always talk about like adding value to, what do we do that adds value to us, and what, different things that we can be at the top of the game. And social media, I think having a presence online is just kind of one of those things we need. But if you don't really know how to do it, you're just like another post that people swipe by, right?
Right.
It's like creating content and
having intentionality to it.
Right. And educating and all the stuff. So I guess that's a good conversation to have with you, is the importance of having a social media presence with our line of work and specific is really important, right?
Yeah, for real estate agents, because it's such a person-based business, right? And it's a service. So putting out content that is going to help your audience know that they want to work with you, and they're not just buying something from you, they need your help, right? And so that is really important to be putting out content with that in mind, and the strategy being behind that is really to present your authentic self. Because if you don't want to, present something that's very polished and just generic and just another post, like you're saying, without that intention behind it, saying like, I want this to really portray who I am and how it is, the process to work with me, and just having that purpose behind what you're doing. And that's, that's everything from using a audio track that's like high energy, because you guys are high energy and you show up and do the work, versus like just jazz music in the background, right? Like you want it to really reflect you. And I think that is more important, having the authentic presence, than it is to use trending sounds or use trending, post ideas and stuff like that. Like what you want behind it is to really reflect you guys.
Because people know us from social media before they even meet us for the first time. Like we send our link tree to people. They're looking at our Instagram. They're looking at our stuff.
Well,
so it gives them an expectation.
In general, like when you're on social media, you kind of like learn. You've never even met half these people, and you're like, oh, but I totally know like who that person is. You're like never
and like stuff about them, their life.
So if they're gonna meet us kind of through our page,
and then meet us,
because a lot of our clients are either transplanting and they've never even been in the same room as us, or
they just don't know us.
They just have no idea who we are.
They don't know us from Adam or somebody else. Like they just.
But by the time they get to that first conversation, they might already feel like friends.
Right.
And even like you're saying for the out-of-state transplants, a lot of them will search on social media first, like Tennessee Realtor or, someone, and try to get a sense of who their options are, rather than just Googling a realtor. I mean, obviously having a recommendation from someone local, but for transplants, they don't always know someone who's here already. Sure. So
that's why like reviews and stuff, that all goes back to online though, because that's where people see you first. Like the reviews, like feedback on Zillow, Redfin, whatever it may be. Like they're going to see that first before they ever even talk to you or meet you.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of, I think, service-based industries in general, but a lot of real estate agents don't consider the impact that a Google review could have or a Zillow review, and they think so much about social media in the sense of like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and they forget that they never go to a restaurant that has 0 reviews.
Yeah,
correct.
That's true.
No one does that. So and you don't buy a product off of Amazon that has no reviews,
right?
Like unless it is just perfect and you're like, I'm willing to risk it because I can return it, But they're not going to enter into this.
True. That's me though. Amazon. I don't look at any reviews. I'm like, I need it.
but it's at the top of your list if it's got reviews.
Yeah, that's
you're not having to scroll.
I mean, if you're picking between one that has 0 and one that even has only 1, like that is going to be a deciding factor. And I think it's one of those things that oftentimes people aren't thinking marketing strategy there for social media. They're not considering those other avenues. Even the podcast is just one more platform to put you in kind of that elite status there, that people are going to have that recognition for your brand, and another place that they can get to know you.
That's what's crazy too. It's all over the world. Like I was looking at the stats for our podcast that day.
I know.
I sent Kara a screenshot, and it was like 10 or 15 people in Germany and Switzerland and Ukraine. I'm like, what? And these are like full views. I'm like, what the heck? How do we even reach that?
Do you think it's I'm so skeptical. Is it like a robot? Is it a person?
Know.
Who in Ukraine is watching our podcast?
I don't know.
But those
so weird.
International investors will always park their money in real estate. And when you look at good places to invest.
That's right.
True.
We see you.
That's right. So
we're on you out there.
There you go. So it could always be someone like that, like looking for places in the U.S. for investment properties, because international investors are on top of that too.
She's trying to make us feel like it's not a robot.
I know. Just so it's actually a person that's watching.
But it is so important.
A bot is still engagement. Even if you get the promoted on comments, like there you go, you still have engagement, and that's going to help your reach.
So I want to talk about 2 things in particular. One, the use of AI to help not just realtors, but just everybody like automate their business. And 2, what are some like useful things that you can do for social media to grow it, because you can just post here and there, but that's not really going to help. So just tips on what can really help you.
I like that.
Okay, so let's talk AI first. So what can real estate agents use AI for? Is that what you're thinking?
Or just ways to automate your business, I guess.
Okay, so many. I think a lot of people, when they're thinking AI right now, aren't realizing that they've been using AI tools for a long time, whether that's streamlining editing or automating emails. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of tools that we already have integrated that we don't realize are using this like information from that we're gathering that we're gathering. But to really tackle the mundane parts of what you do, because I think that every professional, every entrepreneur, every agent, anyone who's got that's running their business should really keep ownership of the things that they love. Mm-hmm. And that is going to build out a stronger business in the long run, because the things that you love doing are going to keep you coming back. But getting those mundane tasks off of your to-do list, whether that is a blog post for a website, and you can, use AI to help you outline what you're going to say, or even if you want the podcast out there, but you don't like coming up with the talking points, 10 talking points for a podcast about real estate investing or real estate in Middle Tennessee or whatever it is. Even for like when we were talking about the newsletter earlier, it's like, okay, we need to talk about hot reasons that people are moving to Nashville. Like we want to really highlight the area and what's appealing to it. Like you can get right into AI and just say, what's the trends? Yeah. Tell me why people are moving here.
And it goes based on strict data too.
Yeah. And it is going to, in seconds, give you things that you probably could have thought of anyways, because you're going to know the information, but it takes the time commitment out of it. And so then you can spend more time, building the relationships with your clients. And
so for people that don't have a clue about this, like myself, can you share a website, or was it like that chat
GPT?
Would that be like something people could use?
You
just
could get in there, or Bard, or there's lots of, even on Canva, I think now if you're creating a post, they even have an AI assistant that can help you write your copy.
I didn't know that.
A lot of the back end of websites will also have an AI assistant now where you can help generate content from there. And are they like free services, or do you have to subscribe to use the AI? Like ChatGPT is free. You just sign in with your Gmail account. Okay. Same with Bard and
Bard, like BARRED.
I think BARD.
Okay.
Yeah. So you get
good. That's good information, because we don't
I don't know any of this.
Yeah, I watched a TikTok hack yesterday that talked about Canva.
Yeah.
And how you could do all your real estate advertising and marketing on Canva through the AI. And it did all these crazy 15 different things that you could just send out. I was like, well, gosh, I figured you would know that. She's Canva girl over here.
Yeah, I use Canva a lot just because I have to.
Yeah, but now you can use AI to help you with content.
Well,
it's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And we got Sierra now.
I've got Sierra to help me with content.
I use some different tools, but there's lots of small business specific things, and really that's the beauty of it, is that you can find something very niche specific that is going to serve your needs. And that's as easy as like a YouTube search or a Google search to find out what AI tools are the best for your industry, and then put just 2 of them to use and see what you come up with.
I guess that's the thing too, is just the time, right? Because that's the whole thing. That's AI is, so great for saving you time and doing the things that you don't want to do. But it's learning how to use the AI and the time it takes to learn how to use the AI that really troubles me.
There's so much controversy on it too right now.
There's so much controversy, but there's also just so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
I feel like there's basic versions like we're talking about now. Mm-hmm. But then you also created that whole thing on, what was it called? Gamba, something like that?
Yeah, Gamma AI we're using to create it's a presentation style landing page for people to go to get information, and it will create a document for you, or a website for you, or a presentation for you, and you can even upload text-based information. So if you have a PDF of, let's say you're in college, right, and you have a PDF of just research that you've done, and you upload that, it will create the presentation for you.
Okay, where was that when I was in college?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no one's got to write a paper anymore.
No,
or the professors even know? They're like, no, AI.
How do they know?
I know my
kids. Because it's not copyrighted, right? You're not plagiarize, not copyrighted, but how would they know if it's just AI generated? It's unique, right?
But here, and here's the kind of that intersection of if you did the work, right, of creating the research, and all you're doing is saying, like, I want the time that it would take to put it in presentation form, like, off my plate.
Yeah.
And so you're going to go present at a conference, your research, like, you already did the work, and you're having AI, and that's a great way to put these tools to use. And I think that to me, that's best practices as far as keeping your work yours and actually having put the rigor into it to know that you're providing value to your audience and not just regurgitating content, but really putting out there, like, you want, but taking that mundane task, right, of creating the presentation off your plate, and then you get that time back. So it's awesome.
It's important to us because getting the stuff off the to-do list is like a task.
Outsource.
That's why you have taken, like, just having you take that little bit
has helped so
much stress off Maggie, mostly because she was doing it, but then she's so busy showing property. So I'm trying to pick up the social media, and then I'm getting busy doing my thing. And it's like, that's the last thing that happens. So
it frees up. It just frees up, like, the back of your mind to really focus on the things that are going to generate the best return on your time investment, right? And that's not figuring
100%.
out AI tools for social media if you can keep from it. So
because I don't want to be a social media manager. I want to sell real estate.
Right? But man, that's the struggle with small businesses, right? Is you have to wear all the hats
hard
in the beginning, and so it is. I mean, that's one of the great things about outsourcing to AI is that you're not even really having to employ someone, right? Like, you're getting that service, even if it is a cost, probably cheaper than you could ever outsource the work.
Sure.
So it's at least a way to level up your game, and that kind of, I guess, moves us into what can someone do to increase their reach on social media right now. And I think as we talk about the AI stuff kind of taking over and how people can get on Canva and produce 200 pieces of content in a couple of minutes with one video, I think it's important to really focus on how showing up authentically is going to increase your engagement and your growth, and not just your reach, but your actual return on your growth, right? The growth isn't important if it does nothing for you in the end. Right. So if it's just bots that are following your account because you use so many hashtags, then that's not really paying off for you guys other than a numbers game, right? And if that's not, if numbers aren't the reason why you're going for it, then it's useless. But showing up authentically in a world of AI is going to start to stand apart. Okay. And so people are going to really be able to hear, like, if you took the time to sit down and film a video and your face is in front of it and you're an industry expert, then they're going to want to hear from you rather than the voiceover of a video that has text on it that's just like a panorama of something. So I think that's a great way to stand out right now, is to really show up with your face. Putting your face in content is just like, it's next level. People will watch it longer. People will engage with it more. They'll feel more comfortable with you especially providing a service, and it will really make you differentiate yourself from AI generated content.
I like that. It's kind of like your Mondays with Maggie. Yeah. Which is good because it's you being totally you. Yeah. And you're talking and you're to your voice. Because you're right. Like, I do swipe through, like, I'll see when like a realtor and she's doing the voiceover. And it's funny. It can be kind of whatever, but it's not her voice and it's not her. And so I do swipe on those faster than actually listening to somebody that's got some personality behind it and you're actually seeing them.
But I think then that kind of gives you the freedom to then also post some of those other things too, because you did throw some of that personal content in there.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're still putting out, consistent content and enough that you're top of mind with all of your followers and stuff like that. But as far as what people can do to really differentiate themselves, I think that is a great first step. And being relatable, just like, even I know you've filmed your Mondays with Maggie in the car before, and people want to see that, like, you're doing your work and taking the time to connect with them too, and try to share something of value, and not just
everything's staged,
everything perfect. Because that's not reality, and that
it takes me 9 times to record that 1 30-second video. So don't let me fool you there either.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So I think that that's a hard hard part about making sure that you're getting that content out there is taking the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because it is you. That's not even something that I can create for you. You know, like that is something that you have to put the effort into. But when people are like, oh, like she's relatable, like she's working from her car, like she's out doing her thing, like that is it's a great thing to that people can connect to anyways.
Yeah, I think so. So what is like the perfect amount and not be too over the top on Instagram and Facebook? Because sometimes we're pretty on the minimal side. Now we're getting a little bit more, but you know, one post, or do we need to be putting like 10 posts a day? Is there like a perfect number?
So social media gurus, people who have successfully scaled their businesses will say, are you really willing to not take the risk to go viral or to get out there and make that one connection because you're afraid of someone might unfollow you because you posted 10 times instead of 4. You know what I mean? So that's true. The more exposure, the better. I can give you the stats from like what we did last week. So Monday, the most content went out. Monday, the reach was the highest.
Oh, okay.
Whereas the rest of the week, it started to decline again because we had less content going out. So it can feel like, okay, this feels like a lot, and some people may not like this, and it may be, and that may be true, but it is keeping you top of mind with people, and it is increasing your reach, and as far as like how many unique individuals are seeing that you guys are out there who aren't just followers, right?
So reach can go to non-followers and followers.
Yes. Okay. So there's the non-follower reach was exponential on that day when the most content went out, and I think it was 5 pieces of content. Like it wasn't even 10. You know, I mean there's a way to overwhelm people for sure.
Yeah. They're like, okay, but Jenny Partners, get off my page.
And then it's okay if one person feels that way, but if everybody feels that way, then
and you have to remember too that as the owner of the account, like you're watching every single piece of content that you put out, whereas someone who's following you is probably watching 1 to 2 of 10 that you might put out in a day. Like they might swipe past some, they might stay for some, and you know, you have to evaluate like if someone is, you know, on social media enough to see every single piece of our content and to get overwhelmed by it, like is that really your
what are we thinking that like the world's about us? Everybody sees all of our posts all the time. We're the only thing that they care about.
I know, but we see it like we think they see it.
I know.
And I'm like, oh, there we are again. Oh, wait, she posted something. Oh, my God, I got to watch it real quick.
We need to get out of our bubble.
Yeah, right? But it's cool. I mean, I think it was all good stuff. It wasn't like mundane, like, oh, my God, another home. Like, I love homes. I mean, clearly. But if you do 10 different homes, like, that's a lot. Yeah. It needs to be spread out with some data or like her face or my face or something else, and just to kind of keep it balanced, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Again, I don't know the algorithms on any of this stuff. I'm just rolling with you, but that's what I would see as like a different generation viewer kind of thing.
Yeah, and your audience on Facebook is different than your audience on Instagram, so it's going to land differently there. I think when I looked, it was like your Facebook audience, like primarily are between the age of 40 and 50, whereas the Instagram audience was like between 20 and 30.
How do you find all that?
On the analytics side of like your Meta business suite.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you too. Do you like schedule out the posts? Because I see them like right as I wake up. I woke up this morning and it was already posted
at 7
for the day.
She posted it.
I know. So I was like, is she scheduling that out and like making the post go up at this time each day?
The ones that I could create ahead of time. So like the Motivation Monday posts, I did 3 weeks out and scheduled them to come out on Monday.
I mean, I thought you were up thinking of me at 7 o'clock this morning.
That's what I'm saying. Again, need to like stop thinking the world is about me. But I was like, dang, Sierra's like on it today.
Like, so sweet of her. She's having coffee thinking about us.
No. But what the hell are we thinking?
She's like, no, 3 weeks ago.
She's like, yeah, actually,
no, like I made a schedule and then I created the posts and I scheduled them to come out. Yeah, sometimes I'm like on my Instagram and I'm like, oh, there's my post that came out from 2 hours ago. I'm like, I better like it. So yeah.
But I like what you said though, because I mean, if Kara can focus on what she's good at, which is making connections, meeting people, and having people trust her, because I think that's like one of your biggest strengths. Yeah. And mine, selling stuff, which is not social media. So I think having that off our plate, like I know 100%. It has taken like that back end stress of like, oh, should I have to post today?
I know.
And not only that, but I'm not a creative person. Like I like talking to people, making connections, and you know, selling houses, but I'm not necessarily that creative. So it's harder for me, and it takes I could sell a house quicker than I can make an Instagram post. I'm serious, because my mind just doesn't work that way.
It can definitely be time consuming.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, another question, and maybe the last, but how do you not run out of content? That's like my biggest fear, even with the podcast, with social media. How do you not run out of stuff to post? Because if you're posting 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day, that's a lot.
AI.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, you guys are putting out a lot of content. Like, if you just document one house each a month, and you have a podcast every single week, and you get, one new listing, and you have one social event, and you have, one meeting, like, even if you just did that one, like, that would be a month's worth of content, because even just the podcast alone once a week, if you, put out one clip a day from it, you wouldn't cover every hot topic that you hit in that 1 week's podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it's with all of everything that you guys are doing, it's easy to come up with enough content.
That's just where my fear is,
Well, I think for people that watch this and are learning, because obviously we want them to learn something from all of this, but if there is somebody that's just now starting and wants to start creating a presence, where would that be like a good starting point? Would it be starting a podcast? I know that's pretty bold and big.
Yeah.
Or would it just be like, okay, just start posting one showing you do this week, or your list? Like, what do you think would be a good starting point for someone brand new into this whole social media game?
Well, it's going to be,
question.
I think, specific to the social media platform that you're trying to strengthen or grow on. So for a podcast, we can best strategy right now for a local service-based company running a podcast. If you're doing that, the best thing that you can do is interview your local business owners. Mm-hmm. So the more business owners in your area that you're going to have on your podcast, the more times your name is going to get shared all across your area, and you're going to suddenly be top of mind, not only to them because you reached out and wanted to give them an interview on your podcast, which most small businesses are going to be like, yes, please, whatever free advertising I can get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they're going to share about you whenever your podcast goes live, and then they're just that connection in person, like they're going to think of you first. Anytime that they have someone needing a real estate agent, they're going to be like, well, I was on their podcast. Like, they're pretty cool, right? So, and you're going to get shared to their social media pages. So even targeting the ones, if you need to narrow it down to like with the biggest followings, like invite them first and get them on your podcast.
Yeah, trust me. I'm just kidding.
Like, that's a great way to get your name out for as far as podcasts go. If you're just starting out and you want to grow, like, Instagram is really hard as far as growth goes. YouTube is a lot easier as far as growth goes. If you post the same video on like a short clip on Instagram versus YouTube, like, you're probably going to get a lot more traction on YouTube. It just depends. Instagram's great for building out a portfolio where people can see your work. So if you're a creative, or if you need to really connect with people, they're going to find you probably quicker on Instagram. So I would say focus on creating that portfolio on Instagram and then worry about your growth, because that will be easier to do once you've kind of established yourself a little bit, and don't rush it. It'll be okay. Like, in-person connections are going to get you more deals than an online presence, for sure. But once you're ready to grow and scale, and just remember that if you go viral, you most likely cannot handle it. So
really,
for sure. Though I doing the production side of things.
Tell me that, girl.
Doing the production side of things. I mean, I never went viral, but I had posts get in the low thousands mark, right?
Okay.
The amount of orders that my single business could handle from just a post that got 2,000 likes. I had to cut orders off
because you were selling a product, though, right?
Yes.
So they were saying, okay, I saw this on there. I need that bag, or I need that hat, or whatever.
Right. And so there's only they're very limited on what I could produce.
Sure.
And so even, I mean, as far as like a business goes, if you have, an item that you're selling or a service that you're providing that you have to cap, like, just keep in mind that if something were to truly take off, like, you just need the one or two, more connections, and let that snowball. And rather than just thinking like, if I could just have, one post get 1 million views and I have 100,000 followers now, that things are going to be great. Like, I don't
think for our line of business, it would be, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but if we went viral, I think it would have to be like a funny clip or something. Like, I don't know how else we would go viral in like a real estate.
Like a house video or something, but I don't necessarily think that would make like us viral. But ours is different though. Ours isn't like a product, it's a service. So you have to be in this area. I feel like it's a lot harder to do that. But I know, like, as far as what she's talking about, I see so many videos or like little clips of Shark Tank now where all of these businesses are like, oh my God, like I need the help because my product went viral on TikTok. Now I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of orders that I need to get out, but I don't have the team to do it. So they go on Shark Tank to get the funding, to get the team, yada, yada. Right. But so many of those scenarios where they're just going viral on TikTok, Facebook,
that's amazing.
Instagram, YouTube.
It's a good problem to have, I guess.
It is a good problem to have,
it. But I think it's just to be careful not to idolize like that potential and thinking like all of your time investment into social media is going to pay off in that regard. Because even if it did, like, you're either going to be overwhelmed with it, or it, rather than just like the time investment, like I said, in the real life connections and what you're doing locally. Now, I mean, there's obviously some things that could probably do really well if they went viral, but just not to idolize it as far as like that being the goal. Like, if you want to grow your social media and have that presence and that platform to get your name out there, like that's great. But just remember what your goal is for it. And if that's just to make sure that, you know, you can convert a lead faster because they're familiar with you at that point, then make sure that you're putting out enough content that emphasizes that point. Like, we want you to be comfortable working with us. So here we're putting out content that will make you comfortable.
Slow burn.
Yeah. And that's what we use it for. I mean, that's exactly what we use it for, is creating not only relationships, but trust, and that we know what we're doing and we close deals.
Just the presence. And then the podcast more so for like educating and promoting other people, promoting like our service. And then, I don't know, personal connections. We just meet people in weirdest places. So I don't know about that. We just meeting people out there. But you're right, those do convert faster. So
well, and people use social media platforms as a search engine. So just remembering that, like, oh, I'm putting out this post today. It might get 3 likes, but I'm making sure that I use the tag, you know, Tennessee Realtor or Middle Tennessee or even Nashville Realtor. That way, if 6 months from now someone searches that tag because they need a real estate agent, like, at least we're showing up, you know, at least we're on that. So that, I mean, using it, I mean, I found photographers that way. I'll look for, you know, a photographer in the area, and I'll search on Instagram because I know they're going to have their portfolio on there. And so knowing that, even if the post isn't necessarily getting you engagement or growth, but knowing that it's there as a search engine is part of the goal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much for hopping on here today.
It's such an overwhelming topic for like most people, so you make it so easy to understand. Seriously. And honestly, you're really good at it. Like, you're really good at it, Sarah.
And even like being the generation I am, all of this stuff I still am learning too. I didn't know half of the stuff that you've even told us.
Well, it's a full-time job. These really Instagram people that are getting paid, they're fully doing this, right? That's just like their work.
Yes.
I mean, I don't see how you could do that and have a real-time job and try to be, if you're being paid through Instagram or whatever.
Especially if you're doing it for multiple people and companies. No, that's so much.
It just seems like a lot.
It's its own job.
You got to cap out at a certain number of clients, because you can't just produce that much in such a limited amount of time unless you really are just going to AI everything. And some people like that, but that's really not the goal. And I think that's one thing that was really attractive for like us working together, is knowing like who you guys are and the kind of presence that you want to have, and being able to really relate to that and put out stuff that it matches you guys, versus just like outsourcing it to someone on Fiverr and getting something that's super generic or not really well thought out. So.
And it's probably easy for you to come up with content for us because you know what it's already supposed to kind of look like, or whatever.
Yeah, well, and I love real estate too, so it's like very much aligned with my my knowledge base. So
well, I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
thanks for having me on.
I'm so glad we met forever ago, and now I didn't know we would ever be working together, but I love it and I'm here for it.
I know, and I remember like having dinner, like we just got together not that long ago, and I was like, "What do you think of AI stuff?" And you were like, "Oh, this scares me," and I was like, "Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to use it, you know." And we kind of talked about that, and I was like, "And here we are, like,
I know, a couple months later,
and all kinds of stuff."
I know, it's all meant to be, girl.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, thanks again, Sarah. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, hopefully you learned a few things from her. And
I did. Like,
I do,
share,
always.
Subscribe, all the good
things.
Stuff. See you next week.
See ya.
Insurance should never be a hurdle when purchasing a home. It's one of the most important purchases of your life and should be handled with proper care.
Whether that be your first home purchase or the next addition to your portfolio. Reach out to the Sally Insurance Agency with Shelter Insurance for a free consultation so you are confident that you are protected when it matters the most.
Call Shay and Sally at 865-671-6451.